Hello everybody, welcome to this week's episode of the County Seat. I'm your host, Chad Booth. You know, in the last week, we've gone through the primaries for municipal elections, and hopefully you had a chance to vote. You got out and narrowed the field of candidates for the many municipal jobs across the state. The statutory responsibilities that are involved in elections lie partly with the county clerks across the state. So we decided to visit with the county clerks for this week's episode and find out what their entire list of jobs are and their statutory responsibility in elections and what it takes to actually put an election on. You'll be surprised at how much work goes into allowing you the opportunity to cast your ballot. Here with the story is Susan Wood.
Election Day. We show up and cast our ballots in a democratic tradition. But there's a lot that goes into this process that you may not think about, and a lot of missed opportunity by those who fail to show up at the polls. The county clerk is the elected official who, among other tasks, is also in charge of putting on elections.
We are the administrator for the county for all the elections, and by virtue, we may help maintain Utah County's portion of the statewide voter database.
Right now, it's the municipal or city elections that are on the minds of county clerks and city recorders across the state. Primaries were held earlier this week. While we tend to think of primaries as the beginning of the election process, the process actually started months ago.
Typically, the election really actually starts during the campaign filing period. This year, that was in July, and the people come in that want to run for office. They find out about it. They actually file the paperwork for it, and then at that point we start making the lists of who's running. Once the city finds out how many people are running, then they find out if they're going to have a primary. And then if they're going to have a primary, then they have to select polling places for it. They have to get the election judges for it. Then they have to determine if they're going to do it themselves or if they're going to have, the county do something more than just the basic level of help as well.
When elections roll around, there are two shortfalls that the organizers run into. One is having enough volunteers to help voters at the polling locations. And in the case of municipal elections in general, a lack of voter turnout.
I don't think in particular people understand how important city elections are. And that manifests itself, unfortunately, in rather low turnout for city elections. And when it comes down to it, your city officials, the city council, the mayor, they're the people that make some of the laws that can affect you the most when it really comes down to it.
Clerks have worked hard to make voter registration easier and more efficient, hoping to increase voter turnout by allowing people to register online, by mail, or in person at the clerk's office. There are also a number of ways people can cast their vote that weren't previously available. Early voting, no excuse absentee voting, and there's even the option to have a reminder to vote emailed or sent by text message. The website vote.utah.gov has all the details on how to register to vote, the voting process, and even information on the candidates and propositions on the ballot. I
would tell people to go ahead and research the candidates, go ahead and research the bond propositions that you may have as well. I know several school districts are considering bond propositions. Research those, see what it's going to cost you, and see what you're going to get out of it. And then also there are some cities that have initiatives as well. And once you've done that research, turn out to vote.
Elections can be complicated or misunderstood, but being informed and involved pays off. After all, voters are determining decisions that will affect you. And Election Day is your chance to speak up about how those decisions will be made. For the county seat, I'm Susan Wood.
Thanks, Susan, for that report. Reminder to everybody, general elections, November 8th. Mark your calendars now so that you can participate in your municipal elections. Stay with us. We'll be back here with the county seat. Our topic today, municipal elections. We have two guests that will help fill in all the blanks from both the city perspective and the county perspective when we return. We'll be back in just a minute.
Are you looking for a getaway, a place to beat the heat, crowds, and find adventure? Get to the point. Just get off I-15 in Beaver, Utah, and head up State Route 153 to Eagle Point Resort, a year-round destination nestled just outside the community of Beaver, Utah. Get to the point. Eagle Point Resort.
The State of Utah School and Institutional Trust Lands Administration, Sitla manages 3.5 million acres of Utah lands with the express purpose of furthering the education of Utah's students while promoting local industry, oil and gas, even residential development, all at the same time. Through the careful use of trust lands, we distributed more than $22 million to Utah schools last year. The State of Utah School and Institutional Trust Lands Administration, building the state's permanent school fund.
What are the words that describe the perfect destination? Finding them all in one place is easy if you know where to look. Millard County in the heart of Utah offers ATV adventures, rock crawling events, art festivals, and nature at its most epic. Millard County, Utah. Find out what you've been searching for.
How would you spend an extra day in Utah Valley? Stay one more day. Visit utahvalley.com to make reservations. Utah Valley. Bring everyone together.